This is Rudkowski of WeAreChange here at the 2016 Rainbow Gathering. I am joined by the one and only Vermine Supreme, very serious presidential candidate, as well as honorary 2016 Peace Poll. I'm sorry, I messed it up.
Yeah, it's okay, Luke. It's totally fine because we're pretty laid back here and things are pretty loose, and is no edits here, friends. So it's okay. I'm Vermine Supreme. I know you from all over, of course, but this is the Rainbow Gathering. It's been going on for over 40 years now. I've been going to them for over 30. My first Rainbow Gathering was in 1987. It is the place where I personally have learned everything that of my understanding of anarchism. When people ask me what kind of anarchist I am, I usually respond, I'm a Kropotkin-leaning mutual aid rainbow gathering anarchist, because this is an anarchistic organism. It is anarchy in action. This is where anarchy occurs. It's the largest temporary autonomous zone in the North American continent in any given year. It occurs in a different national forest every year. Every year we decide where it's going to be the next year. We empower scouts. I mean, the whole thing is a non-commercial event, of course, because it occurs in the national forest. We are using the U.S. Constitution as our permit to gather. There's been a long and endless battle with the U.S. government over our right to gather on public lands. They have tried various permit schemes, some of which have gone up to the Supreme Court. We have beaten most of them. We are sort of at a détente, if you will, where after all these many years, that they finally have agreed that nobody can sign. I mean, that was the thing that stuck in our craw, was they wanted a representative to sign a permit. And from our perspective, no one can represent this mass. I cannot sign it because, number one, consensus would have to be reached for somebody to be empowered to do that, and it would just never ever happen. And so, of course, it's been extremely confrontational over the years. This particular year, the police have been out in force. There's an incident command team, the ICT. It's a subdivision of the National Forest Service, which is, of course, a subdivision of the United States Department of Agriculture. And this particular department is a law enforcement agency which exists, from my understanding, which seems to be solely to police the rainbow gatherings, and they have had budgets up to $1 million a year to put out there so they can be here, man, to pay their wages, so they can have their big cop jamboree over there and stuff. And then, so they have like hundreds of these cops who arrive, and a lot of them go from rainbow gathering to rainbow gathering. A lot of these cops I know. One of the many functions. Okay, so I want to stay on that. See, I'm jumping around a little bit. I understand that.
No, it's okay. I totally understand, because it's fascinating, because you have thousands and thousands of people coming into the woods, and this is, they call, the largest unorganized meeting of non-members in the world, and the numbers are huge and they're very significant. And this started in 1972, and I remember hearing some of the stories from some of the, not old timers, early timers they call them here, and they were saying how there was guns pointed at national parks, at people who are just trying to meet and gather and do this. And again, like thousands and millions of dollars is being spent on watching this unfold in front of us, which is just peaceful people coming together in the forest and creating this kind of alternative civilization based on solely on peace and anarchy and all these amazing principles. This is my first year. Vermin is putting me, is educating me on all of this, because this is a surreal experience just being here for the first year, but it's kind of its own.
Thank you for coming, Luke. I just wanted to thank you here, because a lot of people poo-poo the Rainbow Gathering. A lot of activists and people from various circles, they have negative things to say about it, because because it is an absolutely open, free event. We provide our own security, and because of the nature of it, yes, we do attract any number of sketchy people. I mean, that's just a fact. But we do our best to deal with that, to police ourselves. We have a security structure. Everything exists by council. Everything exists by consensus. And amongst the many functions that we have, one of them is security. And we do what we can. We do our best, but we do have a process we follow, and we take it very seriously. And we as a community come together when there is a situation or a problem, and we attempt to resolve that through a non-violent, peaceful resolution. This year, in fact, I'll give you a quick anecdote. One individual it was a repeat problem. He'd been coming for years and doing stupid shit that it was unacceptable. So we called a council together. We agreed by consensus that that this was a problem. His behavior was unacceptable. And it would be much better if he were to leave. Now, of course, an enforcement mechanism we don't really have, so we're always striving and exploring new ways to do this type of work. The kids, because we were encouraging the next generation, these youngers who are going to be doing this for years when I'm long gone, they came up with this idea, this public shaming. They made these signs. They held a demonstration in front of this gentleman's camp, and they were like down with it, and they, I made sure I read their signs. There was nothing too slanderous. It was okay. I mean, I believed it to be a legitimate council process, and they went there and they publicly shamed him. They had a demonstration. They were, and I checked out. They were not. They were not going to be violent. They assured that. They gave lots of assurances that it was the case. Once again, it was free speech. It was spirited. It was angry, but it was peaceful. Peaceful. I mean, speech can be angry and peaceful, of course. And then they made a circle around the camp. They had another council, and negotiations began, where it was believed that it would just be so much easier for everybody involved if he were to leave in a peaceful fashion, and that vigilante things did not happen, because we frown upon that, and we do not encourage that behavior at all. So yes, that's one aspect.
It's very interesting to see, sometimes these gatherings had 30,000 people, even more at them, and they're creating a whole sustaining, autonomous way of life, a system of government that you haven't seen anywhere else. And they're doing it without any leaders, without any organizers, just people coming together in this crazy fashion. I was going to ask you, I mean, there's so much lingo.
Not essentially averse to leaders, because my understanding in anarchism is not averse to leaders per se. As Buchanan once said, I defer in matters of boot making to the boot maker. And so, yeah, I mean, somebody who knows how to do water might be able to teach. I mean, they're more teachers than leaders, let's say. Yeah. The first thing you come to Rainbow I know is like, as soon as you learn to do something, as soon as that's your job, you find somebody to replace you at that job so you can go do something else. So yes, but the infrastructure is amazing. We have miles and miles of water pipe tapping springs and tapping creeks from miles away to bring water to this place. When people ask me how it works, my thumbnail description is at dinner circle. This is the main circle. We'll have dinner circle. Tonight there could be 3,000 or 4,000 people in concentric circles. They are there for dinner. They've brought their own cup and bowl, and they've washed their hands. There could be over 100 kitchens here as we speak here. And so the 100 kitchens send down 5-gallon buckets of food and dinner rolls and all these things. We have our own ovens and all these things down to the main circle. So everybody is fed. Yep. The Magic Hat goes around. The Magic Hat is the only place where you can dispose of your Babylonian currency. Because you can't sell anything. There's trading, yes, but for money, there's no commercial commerce going on here, because that would endanger our right to gather on its non-commercial event. And so the Magic Hat goes around. The money comes in. It goes to the Banking Council. Banking Council counts the money. The supply comes. They the kitchens have their kitchen council. They decide what they want. They put the order in with supply. Supply goes to banking, gets the money, and then they go out, and it all goes out to the kitchens food, and it just goes on. It's an endless cycle. The money also covers just all the incidental expenses of lime for shitters, for water pipe, just all of these things. I tell people it's a little bit like Flintstones meet Gilligan's Island meets hippies. I don't know.
It's definitely an experience worth going out to and seeing it for yourself, because all these people out here setting up this entire system, which is just mind-blowing, which wouldn't work in normal society, but somehow they make it work here, and it's fascinating and it's beautiful. The police here have made it difficult. They have shut down the road. They're making people hike 6 miles just to get here, so supplies have been short. But even with the supplies being short, everything is still in abundance here, and everyone still has everything that they need when it comes to their basic necessities, when it comes to food, and when it comes to sanitation, when it comes to everything that they need here.
Can I tell you a quick story about this confrontation? They always go into the small towns near the gatherings. They always try and scaremonger, and they try and get people really uptight about these things, these bad things that will be happening when all these hippies arrive. Sometimes they have really shut us down. You have the roadblock here. We had a roadblock in Michigan. They shut down half the site. They chased everybody out. They made it dense packed. They made it more unsafe. What they did was public opinion changed real fast. There was an incident where there was a truckload of water. There was not water in abundance. We were having to truck water in because of the water tables and just the way the water was. And the LEOs pulled over one of our water trucks coming in, and they made them dump out 50-gallon drums of water that was coming in to water children and the elderly and everybody else. Yeah. And when there was video of that, and that video went out there, and that video was shown at the town meeting that night, and the townspeople were outraged. It was a clear violation of the Geneva fucking Convention, if nothing else. It was insane. This is the kind of things we're putting up with. You know, I mean, one of the functions we have here, because in security land, is we have escorts for media, we have escorts for cops, because we like to warn people off of the cops. Sometimes the other day here we had 11 cops, we had 15 cops. They come in with like all sorts of cars and dogs, all this nonsense. They're all gloved up with their fucking lead knuckles and all this shit. And we escort. And then I've spent hours and hours and days walking with cops, talking with cops, propagandizing cops. The difference that I've seen is amazing from when a phalanx, when a whole bunch of Alabama state troopers come in, and I'm walking them and talking them, and then you just see them fucking relax after a while. And of course, we're there for their safety, because you just will try to avoid incidents. Some irate hippie come up. I mean, one time, you know, somebody comes running up from the kitchen to give some cop some shit, and he just forgot he had a knife in his hand. You know, I mean, that shit can go bad real fast. And so one of our functions is to be there, de-escalate, warning the people up ahead of the cops. 6 up is the term you might hear in the woods when the cops are coming. I was doing this bit earlier where I walk ahead of the cops and I say, well, I don't want to seem paranoid or anything, but I think I might be being followed by cops. And I'd look back, and there'd be lots of cops, and the people would laugh, and the cops would laugh. So this is where I learned how to deal with cops. This is where I learned to deal with security issues, and I was able to transfer these issues. This is where I learned to be a clown, because these people allowed me to push my clowning to the limits. I could do things here that I could not do anywhere else, and that people still think them funny. And it's been my biggest, longest running, and probably most important constituency in my campaign. The Rainbow Gathering gave me my first national base, because people are here from all across the country, and I love them very much, and I'll come here every year until I can't.
Yeah, I've seen it yesterday, and most importantly, you're diffusing the kind of irrational behavior by the state with humor, with peace, with communication, with just reaching out to fellow human beings, and you do see that difference here. You do see it encompass with what we're experiencing, and if you haven't gone to a Rainbow Gathering, they have annuals, they have nationals, they have local ones. Definitely, it's very hard to find because it's very unorganized, but just Google Rainbow Gathering. Vermine, anything else you want to say? Any other experiences you want to share from this beautiful place?
There are just so many. It's an amazing place. It's a beautiful place. And we are doing our best to keep it going, keeping it going, just because it is what it is, man. This is it. Say what you will, but this is the Rainbow Gathering. That's all I can tell you.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, brother. Thank you so much for watching. More information about Vermine and Rainbow will be in the description below. And get off the internet. Just come out here. Come out, be a hippie just for a few days. It's worth it. Check it out.